Hey folks,
Don't call it a comeback.
and welcome once again to another edition of Helium Hacks Happy Hour. My name is Travis. I go by TTeague over on the Discords, and I will be your host this evening. So, thank you everyone for showing up today. We've been, taking a bit of a break with the show for a while. Some folks are still, I see a lot of familiar names here. Some folks are kind of rolling in here. What's up, Joey?
Hello. This is, wow, it's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, well,
I'm in the
let's
same
go with
spot.
that.
You're
Let's
in the
go with
same
that.
spot. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited, and I'm glad you kind of mentioned that because there are, with this kind of relaunch, a bit of some reworkings that we've kind of talked about implementing here, and I'd like to talk to the community about it, see what you think. And so I guess this first relaunch edition is going to be, I want to have a good talk. We're going to have Nik, or you may know him.
So turn off
Gristleking.
basement light number 5. Alexa, turn off basement light number 5.
That brings up a good point. If you're not currently talking, kill your mic, just so you don't have a hot mic in here. But that being said, everyone is always welcome to participate in this show. It's a very, very casual atmosphere. I want everyone to understand that this is a place you can come, you can ask questions. There are some rules, some ground rules. We don't talk about speculation. We don't talk about fiat. We don't talk about, if you want to talk about that, there's other forums for that. And I know they'd love to have you. And it's just not really what we focus on here. This is more of a tech-based call. So with that in mind, if this is your first time on the call, I would like you to kind of introduce yourself. I think it helps build a community where kind of gets beyond just knowing someone by their handle and an avatar. So if it's your first time, feel free just to unmute and jump in here, turn your camera on. We want to see your pretty face and introduce yourself. Not all at once, though. So, if you don't want to introduce yourself or don't feel up to it right now, that's fine. Feel free to jump in later. But for the agenda today, like I mentioned, Nik or gristleking is going to jump on and talk to us a little bit. He said he may be a few minutes late. Hey, what's up, Neil? How you doing, man? It feels good to be back. I will say that. It's nice. It's nice seeing everyone here, and I hope everyone is doing well in the new year, and has a lot of interesting projects going on. I believe that Clarissa was going to join us this evening as well to discuss a little bit about the grants program.
We'll probably pop in. I was just blasting her with a bunch of messages.
Oh, okay. So it's Joey's fault. Okay.
Yep.
No.
Maybe while we've got folks rolling in, this is a kind of good opportunity to just talk about like format for upcoming shows and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it. Take it away.
And I've gotten a number of show ideas that I've kind of been developing on for a bit here. But as far as, like Joey mentioned, the overall format, one thing that I was kind of wanting to change up a little bit, I mean, it's not going to be a completely different show, I promise you that. I like what we've been doing for the past 3 years or so. But I do want to try to start putting out, not a curriculum, like kind of a lesson plan about a week early prior to the show going live, where you have a chance to go over what we're talking about. And we'll probably base a lot of this around the whiz block just because it's used in the Helium dev kits, and we still will be giving those away. So if you're hard up for hardware, let us know. Let me know what's going on, and we'll try to make sure that you get something out your direction that you can build on. I just ask that you do, come back and tell us what you built. So, but I mean, we're not limited to WizBlock. We can take apart, build on, do whatever we really want to around here, as long as it's kind of in line with what we're doing. over on the People's Network with Helium. So, but if you have a kind of a lesson plan about a week beforehand, and so you can step through, you can kind of build, you can get on the same page, and then when we get together, we can go over using Visual Studio Code and Platformio is what I know a lot of us develop in. We can kind of let's see if I can do this. Yeah, so we can there's a plugin for Visual Studio Code that allows multiple people to kind of follow one person who's driving. And so we can, we can go through code here. If we want to do hardware, we can, I don't know, mess around over on the bench and work on these projects. I would like to kind of get together some type of community project that we could all pitch in and develop on. I think that'd be a lot of fun. We'll just kind of have to take this over to the Discords, talk about, there's a Helium Hacks Happy Hour channel over on the Helium Discord. And in order to speak in that, because we had some people kind of accosting us, not knowing what the heck this show channel thing was about, you have to have the 4-H role on in Discord. If you ask any moderator, they'll hook you up with that and make sure that you can't speak over there. But we just try to kind of keep things topical in that channel so it doesn't go as off the rails as this show does sometimes. So, but if anyone has suggestions, I'd love to hear what you think about format of the show. I know we've had some sprawling 4+ hour hacks in the past, and we're going to try to keep it a little more streamlined here to around an hour, and then part of that time towards the end can be used as a Q&A for the prior week's show. If there are questions about what we did the week before, rather than kind of messing up the flow of the current week, we can just hold those to the end, and then if we want to, it's something that I can hold on a little later if we need to. We can take it offline, but we don't want anyone stranded on a project that we're working on here. Ooh, we have a representative from Liberia in the house, huh? What's up, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Excellent. This man did a big deployment, a sensor deployment out in a forestry project in Liberia this past week, and man, thank you, because feet on the ground. That is one subject that we're going to talk about here in a couple weeks. And I'd love for you to come back on and discuss that with us, but it's going to be about remote deployments. And if I am rolling out gateways in another country, I don't have, my feet are on the ground. George, there he is, man.
Yes.
Hey, we were just kind of discussing the remote deployment show that we want to get together here. And would love to have you on it as well, discussing what it's like when you're deploying in a country that you may never have been to. There are a lot of issues that come up, and if you kind of have the foresight, to take care of some of that, it'll make the deployment a lot easier. So
yeah, we've learned some lessons in some of our most recent deployments in far-flung places, virtually. And I did invite our colleague from the Forestry Training Institute, Moana.
Absolutely, yeah.
We would just,
I saw him pop up here, yeah.
Yeah, we were just working with. I said, well, why don't you come on in? Because we've been working into the night his time on a holiday. It was wonderful for him to come in, and he reset the sensors, and we have data coming in again. So hiccups happen, and in tuning these networks. But we have a great team over there of about
So
4
who are you? No,
IT
sorry.
people.
I just
Yeah.
for the people who don't know who you are, George.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. George Newman, One Planet Education Network. We're installing networks in forests and agriculture fields in Africa and in Australia and Jamaica, and hopefully soon in Trinidad. So we're bouncing around the world, deploying remotely pretty much at the moment. But we do have great teams on the ground, such as Moana here. So welcome, Moana. Glad you could come in, and thanks again for your help on a holiday.
So I'll let everyone know kind of a schedule of these, these events, when we're going to be talking about what, and feedback is welcome. Joey, comments, sir?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think my one call out is just for anyone that's been playing with some sensor or thinking about deployments or building businesses, like think of Helium Hacks as the platform to come on and share and inform the community on how they can sort of take those ideas and build upon them or jump in with you. This can be, your own commercial stuff. It can be hobbyist things. Travis
Absolutely.
is our fearless leader here. He will tell you what flies, but yeah, super excited to be able to like get this going again and start seeing all these IoT, applications just across everyone's been building over the past couple of months. So let's kind of see what's been going on.
Heck yeah.
I think it's a great idea you've got, Travis, of starting a project over a few weeks that people
Excellent.
can join in with classes and code. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Excellent. Then we could just, set up a repo over on GitHub. Everyone can be working off of that. And yeah, let's just decide what we want to build, folks. It can, shoot, I've got a few projects I've been working on lately. I've been rewriting or messing with the firmware on my one wheel, and I haven't quite gotten that down yet. I broke my toe the other day, again. So, but the one wheels use STM32 micro controllers on board, and there's a ton of things to get into trouble with there. LVGL is another technology that I've been working with, and that's where you can make GUIs and touchscreen interfaces for embedded microcontrollers. And so like the little, from the little touchscreens to, I don't know, bigger ones. Some around here somewhere. There's a pretty neat little device. All right, here we go. These are cool. This is a ESP32S3 display. It's not touchscreen, but it is a circular. It kind of looks like a Nest, and it has a rotary encoder around the edge, and then you have RGB LEDs around the edge as well. You just have a daughter board breakout on the back. But,
what frameworks are those two? Well, that last device, what frameworks are available for it? Any easy ones?
ESP-IDF is really what you're going to want to use if you want to really get dirty with it. It exposes a lot more there. You can also use Platformio with the Arduino. If that's the... What's up, Nick? Hey! If that's
What's
the
up, dog? I
direction
made
you
it in.
want
I was
to
at the
approach
wrong
the
link
device.
forever, just waiting. Like, where the fuck is everybody?
Oh, well, shoot, man. Oops.
My
Yeah,
bad.
I tried to get the link out there. I'm sure that was my bad. I probably dropped the ball somewhere along the way, but
Impossible.
want to thank Brian for helping me get a lot of this, set up with the socials and getting this out this week. This was all kind of done up rather quickly. Joey, thank you very much, for everything around here recently. This is, I guess, week number 2 over at Helium Foundation, and I've really been enjoying it. A great group of people over there, a lot of whom I've known, which is great. Being able to work directly with them. So it's been fun. But I see that I believe Clarissa's with us, Nick's with us, and so in the interest of time, if we want to kind of jump in here, is anyone on a time crunch that they need to jump, or?
I don't know. I can go first. We don't need to fucking wait around for me or Clarissa to arm wrestle it out. I'll lose that one. I'd rather just stay ahead of that particular game.
Works great, man.
Okay, cool. So Neil, who's on here, has actually, I think, a way better, more accurate project with the nanotags. I've got one that is cut to bits right here. I pulled the front off and managed to cut the antenna, which Joey helped me understand really quickly. Yeah, nice. Everyone's holding up their nanotags. Hell yeah. So we just did a thing with UplinkEngine where it's like, hey, how quickly can we put this thing on and see where it's going? I sent a box out to FedEx. I got some homies there from a former life. And so they got it, and it was cool to see, okay, for paleo treats for my little cookie company, we can track the position of the box. We can track the temperature of the box, which is really important for perishable goods. There's a couple places where it falls down. So this is really where Neil comes in and kind of picks up, depending on what the user needs. Is the current implementation, as I understand it, is that the nanotag just tells you the the hotspot with the strongest signal, right? So if you're sitting right under your home hotspot, it'll show you, that you're at home, but it's only really showing you that you're at your hotspot. Versus if I'm, 4 blocks away, it'll still show that hotspot if it's the strongest hotspot. So for package tracking, for what I'm doing, the test the initial test we ran with Paley Treats, it's fantastic, right? It's close enough that it's like, oh, well, it's in the mountains. It's, it's being driven up to LAX, to the Los Angeles airport, and now it's in the sky. And what we saw that it did drop off. We missed a couple check-ins, but it was pretty cool to see the temperature piece as we went along. And I've been doing perishable shipping since 2009, looking for something like this. So pretty cool to see it come along, 2023. I think the tags are $25. If you're doing individual tags, you can buy them on CalChip, if I remember right. And I think what we're going to see is a super easy implementation on UplinkEngine coming up in the next couple of weeks, where it's just like, hey, if you have one tag and you just want to see what it's like, you don't want to mess around, like you're not ready to do kind of business. If you want to do big business, go find Neil at TrackPack.io. But yeah, if you want to just check it out and see what's going on, and you don't want to do all the back end bullshit coding that takes so much time, I think that's what we're going to see. And it'll be something like, and these guys are probably going to kill me like, you shouldn't have said that, but it'll be something like app at Nanothings or map at Nanothings, or whatever it is. It'll be a really easy onboarding process. And then if you want more accurate stuff, push over to Neil. So I think, and I'm sure, Neil, there's going to be other competitors in there as well, right? But we're the first two. We're the fucking best. We got different propositions.
There's so many people want to use it. It's just changing the game for a lot of industries, They're just so excited about it. They just want to get going. And there's so many teams like trying to help. It's good to see.
Yeah. It's a super, super cool thing. And I think the really big, interesting thing is, how do you take a small business like Paleo Treats, which does maybe $250,000 in desserts a year, like not a ton. That's a small business, sends out a bunch of packages every week. You can't put a $25 tag on a average order value of, let's say, $86. You'll just kill all your profits. So how do you reuse the tags? How do you set up a system for these businesses where the customer gets the tag and they put it in a self-addressed stamped envelope back to Paleo Treats, and we can reuse the tag? Because these things, what do they last, Neil? They're like 2 or 3 years with 1 hour check-in and a couple months.
Yeah, 600 milliamp hour battery on those, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is pretty legit, yeah.
We're going to see a lot of small businesses kind of solving these problems. But I just got off the phone with my FedEx contact, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I've got another grant winner, which is the FedEx Small Business Grant." That's how I got hooked up with them, as we won one of those years ago. Who might be interested in this? So I think in their kind of perishable shipping realm, we might be able to push this out a little faster than otherwise. So that's kind of cool. Charbel, good to see you here, man. I haven't seen you in a million years. What's going on, dog? Growing a beard. So I think that's at least that's the.
Hey everyone, Joey. Glad you are back. You are all back. Travis, thank you for coming back.
Yeah, it's good to see the mighty team back.
Thank you. Does anyone? Can you do a quick Q&A if anyone has questions?
Totes, yeah. I can probably share my screen and figure out how to show it off. Let me.
Yes.
Hey Travis, welcome back. Jimmy here, guys. Everybody, welcome back. I wanted to ask, how are you guys solving the Libya, Liberia, or Nigeria, or an African part, the frequencies that are not working with the local government? That's an issue and a problem.
We are facing this issue in 2 countries already.
Hey, what's up, Charbel? Yeah.
Nick knows about Sierra Leone and Nigeria. So
that's something, even talking to the local government, they start telling you, "Oh, send us an email and get a certificate or try to get a license." I don't know. It's stressful. And even some countries have the hotspots deployed, so you can't even use them. They're not witnessing or anything.
George?
Yeah, thanks.
We're trying with the Ministry of Telco, but we haven't gotten a reply yet. We're still working on that.
I got you.
I don't know if they did the same approach, or was it, what did you guys do over there in Liberia?
Well, we're working with a government ministry, which is a pretty, it's good to have a friend in the government with the application need. So we have the forestry authority. It's called the forestry, the development authority, which is the ministry, and the LTA, Liberian Telecom Authority, are the regulators there. And they haven't done a heck of a lot with IoT and frequency setting for LoRaWAN. But I've been working with Mike Veerling because we have connections into the Africa Telecom Union, which actually we're trying to do a Pan-African, if for at least to give us, temporary permission to get going in the country and then work, decide on the EU 868 standard is what we're trying to push. So that the whole continent jumps ahead and we don't have, one doing one trying another, and the left hand doesn't know what the right's doing. And the Africa Telecom Union is the perfect organization that brings all the other regulatory bodies in each country together. The mandate comes down from the International Telecom Union, the UN, goes down to the Africa Telecom Union, and they adopt pretty much what the ITU is doing. And then the other countries look, oh, what Africa Telecom Union's pushing EU 868, then let's go with that. So we're just a part way along the way. We put in our letters. We got Seed and RAC, our vendor partners, to write along with us that we want this too, and here's our certification for EU 868.
If you guys could share those, if you could share those contacts, we could send it on our side. Some of our partners in the African region to push it, on our side.
Oh yeah,
because we know a lot of them that are hosting. If it's an internet business, they host CDNs and cache and nodes in exchanges together. So that's our business. Maybe we could push it in a different approach, like you guys are doing. That might work.
Yeah. I mean, you find those centralized bodies that have impact in the market, and we've gotten to the right ones, and now it's just let's see what we can do for Liberia to start, push it through. It takes time for them to set even if they accept EU 868, they got to lay out their regs, and but we preliminary permissions that will knowing that it's going to go that direction.
We got some local licenses, Jimmy, sorry to interrupt you. We got some local licenses, like for example in Congo and in Sierra Leone with local ISPs and with local operator. But as I met with Michael, they are asking for the Helium permission. They are asking permission for the Helium to deploy, and already 868 is already given frequency there. So we got the approval on 868. But it's
great.
Yes, but still it's not officially like under.
And are they saying is it free, or are they charging? Are they charging like last mile or any fees for that frequency, or is it just leaving it open?
It's same like every frequency, Jimmy. You know how things work there. It's like in Lebanon, you have to pay a fee after all. So
it's not free, not like in the US and Euro.
No. You just have to pay the first hop-in fees if you want to.
In reality, how it actually goes down, you mean?
I mean, of course we want unlimited use and freebie, but that we know that probably isn't going to happen, and even in Liberia, although we haven't hit that milestone yet, so we'll have to see.
The exchanges that the exchange idea would be fine. That peering between ISPs and the network would be cool.
We are already running with D6 in Africa and in Congo, Jimmy, and we are making the union between these 7 countries and between the 2 countries, and that would be helpful. As I said, accessing to ISPs is the best choice because they are in direct telecom business and they can get their own license. But the transition for Helium, and this is what we need to study with you guys, like with the Helium people, how to transfer from a local operator his approval on 868 to put it under Helium or whatever under the community.
Cool stuff, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing this topic up tonight. It's something that I think is very,
but I do think.
And already we have like 100 gateways ready in stock there to be installed. And really we missed the 868 because our partners there have already the frequency and have secured it and paid for it. And we just missed that it could be not in Helium list, so we didn't check it actually. And I've been talking with this and Nik and the shows and everything, and And when we installed, we got surprised that already we have like 50 units deployed, but 5 of them are only now not working. So sorry, 5 of them are inserted, but the other are waiting to solve this issue. Perhaps Joey, is there any direction on this for fast track, or do we need access directly with the government, or shall this partner or operator go under LoRa Alliance or the Things Network or whatever?
I could
Hey,
comment
where's that
on
magic wand? Just blanket. Like, yeah, now it's
Yeah.
good. Don't worry about it.
Well,
Yeah, no.
it's funny you mentioned Magic Wand because we're also wanting this to apply to like hazmat and disaster recovery operations, and so that are just going to be rolled out kind of on an ad hoc basis. I think it's important to be able to use this technology for instances such as that.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
I heard
no, I
from the
understand.
African Telecom Union was basically, this is pretty much not to worry as much about it because we're already kind of going down that path to get everybody all on the same page. It just takes a little time and effort. And I've been working with Mike Veerling on the Liberia side with the African Telecom Union and the LoRa Alliance. So we're trying to coordinate everybody. And I think coordination among us, as a little side group, would be a really good idea if we're looking at Africa and getting them set in one standard so that we can streamline this and make it happen faster and more efficiently.
Because it's better for everyone's projects,
Yeah.
gateways we get
Travis,
up over there.
I think what we could do is either figure out with Helium Foundation how to do a Discord channel in there, or I'm happy to do one on the GK server if that's useful for you guys. So,
I did reach out to some people in Africa on the Things Network, and I do have several contacts there. I've been part of them for several years, so I could help you guys out on that if anybody has certain countries there, they're having problem with any TTN people. I did try Nigeria.
Channel, excellent. Think if we can have a channel like this, we can unify our forces.
I think creating channels in Africa, especially for the hotspots that are deployed and they have no coverage. So those people that deployed those hotspots, they could help us out locally, and have them work out to try to secure the 868. They've already installed the antennas. Might as well have a channel for them also, because there's no channel even on Helium. They don't have a channel. So some of these countries are, even if the end user installed the hotspot, he doesn't have a channel to go to and follow up. He's going to search in another channel maybe.
dig it. Cool. Well, I'm happy to help out wherever I can. Let's see. Let's get this thing back on track and talk about it. Yeah, I think it's really important to do this piece, but let's make sure we stay on track here because I want to make sure Clarissa has time as well. I'm just going to do the quick screen share, and then Clarissa, I'll turn it over to you.
Do you have access to screen share on your end?
Enhance. I should, yeah. Let's see if I can share this. You guys can see my screen?
I can now.
Okay. It says that you can. So this is America. And this is where the tag went. So it went from San Diego way over here where all the little green and red dots are. I've got a bunch of other devices. This is an UplinkEngine instance. It's on medioscientific.com, which is my little kind of open,
ice the hot chocolate.
Open business. They're like basically I'm showing folks how to build a LoRaWAN business. And then you can see where the tag is. Looks like it's in the parking lot of whatever this building is in the river where my buddy lives. And I don't think this is too much PII, so I'm happy to kind of share this out. And clearly, not clearly, maybe you didn't see this or you didn't catch it earlier, but this is just where the closest Helium hotspot is. This isn't where the actual package is. One interesting thing is when you hit the package, because it's both a GPS and a temperature tracker, we're getting the temp. I was just talking to her and she said the temperature on a thermostat is 73 degrees. This thing's at 71, so we're within 2 degrees. It's not bad. We did see, because we pack everything with gel packs and the rest of it at Paleo Treats, it was at 54. And I think if we go back 54 degrees Fahrenheit, if we go back to yesterday when we first put it in, it was down at 32. So pretty cool just to see kind of what's going on as the thing does its transit. There's also the battery voltage here in millivolts. So kind of geeky stuff, but yeah, just really cool to see like, hey, this is a thing for 25 bucks. You couldn't find this when I started doing perishable shipping, 12 plus years ago. And now you can order it on the internet. So pretty rad to see how things are developing. Any questions on this, or should I just turn it over to Clarissa?
Just real quick, who is UplinkEngine? What?
Yeah, UplinkEngine. So a lot of you who got in early on Helium probably recognize the general graphics on that. They looked a lot like Helium Vision. Helium Vision had done a bunch of stuff mapping or helping you map out where to put your hotspot and doing line of sight and all of the, geez, I haven't done it in so long, I forget all the words, like figuring out like what your antenna would do, the simulations. And so what he saw, and then kind of, I think all of us saw, was like, look, this whole Helium hotspot mania is not going to last that long. What's going to be next? Pretty clearly, the network is being built for a use case purpose. So he went and figured out, how do I take my skills or his skills, which in this case are kind of the software side, and helping people see how all this technology works. And now he's got a couple paying clients who are doing. So I'll let him talk about it, but he's got a couple paying clients who are using the Helium network to keep track of what's going on in their business. And then if you guys have a business where you want to track anything on Helium, he's going to be running that, and it may or may not work with Hotspotty. Those guys may or may not run an LNS. But the idea is to make it really, really easy to use Helium so that you don't have to deal with any of the technical stuff. So for folks in this group, it may not be that interesting because we all kind of like the technical stuff, or at least I like to grab on to your coattails and see if I can pay attention to what you're doing with technical stuff. But for the broader market, this is going to be a pretty important thing.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, Doug, thanks for having me on.
Always, yeah.
Clarissa, what do you got?
Hey, okay, but before I go, does anyone have questions for Nik? I mean, this is an awesome project. I just don't want to rush us forward too quick. So maybe we'll just give it a sec.
I can buy those at CalChip Connect. Is that the go-to for purchasing? Okay.
Yeah. Yep, I think it is right now. I can find a link, or someone can find a link and drop it in there. But yeah, thanks, Clarissa. I always figure if people don't say anything in like 3.5 seconds, they want to do the next thing. So let's crush.
I'll throw a question in there too. Like on Medio Scientific, like, are you able to sort of share out those dashboards with customers, or is this more like if somebody says like, hey, I haven't found my package, you would go look that up? Like, how are you trying to like play that in over? Or like, how's that use case play out?
Sure. Yeah. So that's the first part. I'll do a screen share so that you're not just watching me talk. It'll make a little bit more sense. So to be fairly clear, Medio Scientific is this, like, it's not a fake business, but it's the business that I'm starting to do all the LoRaWAN stuff. So everything that I run as Nik Hawks gristleking as like a LoRaWAN business will be Medio Scientific. Within Medio Scientific and within any UplinkEngine account, you can see the UplinkEngine tag down here. There are a bunch of different tenancies. So if you remember the Vernal Pools project, that's under this Chaparral Conservancy. So those guys have their own thing that they can log into. Terabella is the nursery. So those guys can log into their piece. Right now, all of it is behind a login wall. So you have to, I have to add you as a user before you can see all of these different pieces. What is going to happen pretty soon is we're going to start seeing some of this stuff being open to the public. So what'll happen is specifically for this nanotag, if I get my way with the, like, telling these guys what I want, is like, hey, when you get your tag, you'll be able to go to app.whatever.nanothings.com, and you'll see your app. You'll type in your serial number and you'll be able to see your app publicly. That'll be kind of publicly available. And that is I think, to be considered like, hey, this is kind of a testing to onboard you into the general system. If you want to go deeper, great, you go deeper with it. If you don't want to do that, if you're like, maybe you're a small company like Paleotreats, and you're like, I don't want just one tag, I want 10 or 20 or 30, fine, go to TrackPack.io and start with those guys from the beginning. But this is the way that I'm seeing this is like a really easy onboard for the general kind of Helium world process. So just as the example for Terabella, if these guys are a client of Medio Scientific, is you can see the soil moisture stuff going on over there, what the soil moisture is. You can look at the weather station. You can see the different parts of the weather station, the temperature, and all the rest of that crap. I think might be stuck on soil moisture still. But that's kind of the general, I think, answer to your question. Does that make sense, Joey?
Yeah, totally. And this also looks exciting. You're gonna have to give a demo on this thing too.
Yeah, we got a bunch of different
What's going
regions.
on
These
there?
guys grow thousands and thousands of plants and put them all over the place. So there's a bunch of super cool stuff we'll do with them, and also bringing in GeoNet, which is a totally different blockchain, but they're doing centimeter accuracy positioning, and they'll be able to do some of that stuff on Helium. So it'd be rad to say like, hey, we'll put a tag, not a nanotag, something else, onto a plant, because these plant pots are 10 inches across. They got a few thousand of them on that property, And for them to be able to track where their plants are and how often they're getting watered and how they're getting moved around the property or off the property, that's a pretty big deal. So I think one of the things I think when I walk around the block, in the mornings, walking my dogs, like, holy shit, we've been saying for a while that helium is going to change the world. It's starting to change the world. It's pretty cool to see, the folks on this call, like, figuring it out, hopefully faster than I am. And we kind of, do this thing together and change the world together. Okay. Anything else before we go over to Clarissa?
You are the fastest so far, Nick.
It's like every time I get around you guys, I'm like, I'm the dumbest person in the room, but thank God these people are smart enough. And David Gruber, I see you on here. Hopefully I'm not making promises that you and Nick Huff can't keep, but I think that's a reasonable way to do it. So, okay.
That's awesome.
I think that should wrap it.
Cool.
Clarissa.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, dog.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks again, Nick. That's an awesome project. I thought Travis was kind enough to invite me on to share a little bit more about the new grant program that we launched this year. So we reopened the program for 2023, and we focused the funding opportunities on areas that we heard the community was asking for a lot. So one thing that we saw a lot of was amazing events were cropping up all over the globe. So we wanted to seed the beginning stages of event organizers. There are people out there that are like, oh, I wish I could do a meetup in my town, or I wish a helium event would pop up in my city. And this is sort of their chance to apply for a grant, get $500 for their very first meetup, and just get things started, get out there, start meeting people, start creating a community. So I wanted to invite everyone here, if you want to order pizza like Joey's emoji and get some beers and, do some hacking. We're also talking to Seed about getting some hardware for these events so that we can ship sensors around and make sure that people are getting hands-on during these events. So highly encourage everyone here to apply. I think 4 people have applied so far in the past week or so, and we're funding all of them. We're like, yes, let's do it. High chance that you'll get approved and you'll be able to set up an event. Another sort of funding opportunity that we set up is a partnership with a bunch of other funds in the space. So these are venture funds that either fund things in the hardware space or IoT space or the Web3 space. They're all groups that are very excited about seeing solutions built on helium and seeing projects that show potential to scale. So it takes about 20 minutes to apply to be surfaced to these partners. And the mechanism for sharing projects with these partners is super simple. We're basically creating a very nice newsletter that's tailored and curated and sent out to this very small handful of highly engaged partners. So very exciting to see projects that are in early stages get aligned with the funding partners that they'll need to scale. And the very last thing I wanted to share with you guys is something that is time sensitive. You only have a week about. So the very last funding opportunity that we have is a call for projects that are centered on making the process of onboarding devices easier or more accessible. So if you have an idea for even like a handwritten educational content about which sensors to use, or something as complex as, a new console, things like that help people get devices on the network faster and easier. We're looking for those types of ideas. And again, it takes about 20 minutes to send us a quick pitch, and our team will go back and forth with you to decide, what milestones should be and what deliverables make sense for what you want to build. I think that's about it. And I'll just say again, the deadline is in a week. It's March 15th. And that's the deadline for that 20-minute pitch. All you have to do is submit your wild idea and we'll take a look. I think thank you so much, Scott, for sharing that link. Anybody have questions or comments about this new stage of the grant program?
Yeah, how long is this thing gonna last? Are you gonna do like a bunch of rounds of this, or are you just gonna do kind of one round and see how it goes and then make a change?
Yeah, Nick, oh my gosh, you read my mind. So this device onboarding is one of several project calls that we'll have. So a couple days after March 15th, when the device onboarding call wraps up, we'll introduce a new call for projects. And we may even, let the community know beforehand. But that's something we're trying out, is these sort of shorter time periods where people just throw an idea out there. Don't let it sit in a folder or sit on your notepad for months. Just share the idea. Yeah.
Very cool.
And I wanted to ask, what about if this idea, if somebody already had the idea and they're already testing it out, but they needed help with something else like marketing or go-to market? What would you guys be doing in any grants on that level? Or is it only on the technical side? You just want to see the technical side of it?
That's a great question. Yeah, if we're primarily interested in funding development rather than like ops or marketing, things like that. So technical development. If it's a go-to-market or a for-profit company that's not building something open source and is more looking for funding to ramp up and scale, that would be a better fit for our venture partner program or capital partner program, where you're essentially pitching the project to the VCs that would be funding you. And some of these folks are seed stage. So it would make sense for you. Does that answer your question?
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
And what about deployment? Is there any grants for like opening new opportunities, new countries, or not only meetups and applications and everything, like maybe going to the North Pole and deploy Helium there? I will go with Nick. I would love to go.
I was gonna say I'll put in for that grant for sure. We need some weather stations up in Patagonia, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, it's so funny. I think we're trying to be a little bit more intentional and focused on the types of things that we're funding over this next year. So, last year we saw a lot of amazing IoT use cases, like deployment in different areas for different use cases. And now we're focusing a little bit more on like the public goods that can be created for the community to help infrastructure or tools, things like that. So I would say that's a little bit outside of our focus for the moment, but if you start a meetup in Antarctica, we can give you $500. Yeah.
No, actually, the network is already grown, but the network to keep on going, and I've been discussing this with many folks around, like it should conquer new grounds and new markets to have the coverage there. And of course, it should be, the mapping is very important. So we should take a look into the mapping, because any use case will use the mapping proof of coverage to be able to deploy sensors. For example, if you tell me now deploy in Paris, okay, to deploy with water meters, for example, I have to prove that there is a real coverage. I need the mapping there. So I think the mapping direction and the new area coverage should be revised and taken care of in the near future.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to lead this in a slightly different direction than Grant. Sorry, sorry, Clarissa. But what you're touching on is
I'm not pointing to grants, Joey. I'm pointing out what we should consider in the near future. Not only grants, to focus on the mapping and the new areas. Maybe rewarding new areas like JODNet is doing, or the first that get in the area, or like first hotspot. There's many ideas. I know it's not the talk of the show tonight, but we would love.
That's fine, but that topic comes up a lot, and I think a lot of people are having that conversation right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just I want to say you're on the right track, and those are a lot of things that I've sort of heard conversations of in the community. And most recently, we formed the IoT Proof of Coverage Working Group, and one of the sort of things. Like
We've been
Jeremy had to
discussing
drop.
this in Lisbon, if you remember, over the pizza, Joey. So
I'm
Oh,
here.
yeah.
I'm here.
even
Oh,
the
yeah.
blue ticks for verifying the hotspot, if it's verifiable or not, getting
Well-
getting a mapper going around the building. Anyway, there is many ways we can verify.
Yeah, well, just to touch on that as sort of a cliff note, like one of these ideas is treating proof of coverage as sort of a modeled coverage, similar to the way that we've seen this deployed on the mobile network. And then adding in elements of secure mappers and other sources to verify that data is, I think, going to be the way that this moves. You know, like we can start to think of proof of coverage as the coverage map of Helium LoRaWAN, right? And you don't need two separate things, like they would sort of become one and the same. And that's realistically what proof of coverage is supposed to do, is, you know, show us that what is out there. Anyway, I didn't want to diverge too far from Clarissa's thing, but I just definitely wanted to sort of give you a thumbs up on the thinking there.
Thank you, Joey, as always. Yes, Clarissa, looking forward to get some meetups everywhere through partners.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. And you know, this group is so highly engaged and active within the Helium ecosystem. We take a lot of our cues for these call for projects from the community. So if you ever have an idea for like, hey, I think a bunch of projects could serve this goal, then yeah, please send it my way, because I'll try to whip it into a call for projects, and we could see what we get from it.
As Jimmy said, we and everybody knows, we are already in building phase, like for a platform similar to what Nix is doing, and I guess this direction everyone is taking it. And the go-to-market is still, and onboarding new devices is the biggest challenge today. You have to give it for a 12 years old, and you have to give it for an 80 years old person that can enroll a sensor and get it into the network. Like the Apple tag, no one's care about which technology it uses. It uses Bluetooth or it uses LoRaWAN or whatever it uses. What is there? What matters for the end user is that it's working, it's giving him his data, and functional tracking is the best out there. So I think functional tracking will be the best choice in the coming 2 years. So
it's also important that you don't overshare information on your tags, which I think they've seen a little bit of issues there. So
yeah. I see what you're pointing at, Travis.
Hey,
so
to get it back on hack stuff, any of you guys have the new LoRaWAN piece from Maker Fabs? I just got a bunch of them in, and they're not easy enough for my little pin brain to easily onboard. Anyone done that?
Can you describe what it is again? Is it a new LoRaWAN radio? Oh,
yep. Put a nanotag on it, Nick, and send them over.
Yeah, we'll put my broken nanotag. So, Jeremy, it's the so Maker Fabs had made. I don't think I have the version of these anywhere close. They made the
RFM95s.
Yeah, the V3 LoRa sensors, and then a bunch of smart people figured out how to make them LoRaWAN and get them on Helium, and then Maker Fabs got so many requests for something that was easier to put directly on LoRaWAN that was designed for it, that they made these guys. So I'm kind of doing my part, printing out a new 3D design for this now, so that we get that same shield that I made for the other one for this thing, but getting it on the network is probably something that Neil could like look at and sneeze and make happen, but it's just kicking my ass.
You can work it out.
Yeah.
What kind of inputs does it have? Voltage sensors?
Jeez. So I bought, actually, they have a thing where you get it with it, like it's a USB to serial converter. It's supposed to make it easier. I got a couple of those. I'll probably work with Dirk on it, but I wanted to see if anyone already had one of these things on. I don't think it's by a long shot impossible.
It should be just program the keys and upload and join, right?
It should
be.
Yeah. Like on my simple brain, I was looking for something for their decoder that I could sorry, not the decoder, whatever the sketch is that I can copy and paste into Arduino and change the keys and put it in there. But I haven't found that yet. And it just may be my.
It's on their it's in the product page. They have a GitHub link.
I'll dig around and look for it. Cool.
Yep.
Is that the version 3, Nick? Or because I think there's 3 versions. You said there's a new one.
Yeah, this is the new one.
What version of the hardware?
I'll go grab, I think I've got one stuck in a plant. That's the V3, so you can see the difference. I'll be right back.
I've got the version 1 and version 2, but I haven't got one of the later one.
What's the microcontroller that's using Leo?
Some Arduino compatible. Don't quote me on that. I might have to go looking through a box here and or probably easier to look. It's open hardware, so you should be able to look it up. I'll see if I can find it.
I was thinking they were using Muratas. I could be off base there. I know they use the RFM95s.
Yeah, that's right. That's what the first 2 versions definitely use the RFM.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I'm not sure what the MCU is they're using. That's some Arduino compatible one.
I think it's the 18 mega 328. So your standard little blue pill.
Yeah, okay.
And then I think the LoRa module is from, so yeah, Adrian's got the RFM95. I think the one that Nick has, if it'll focus, is from Liligo,
One of them's
TTGo.
RFM95 there, but yeah.
These are, I bought both of these off of Maker Fabs.
Yeah.
So the right one is the new one. The red one is
the red one is a new one. Yeah.
Mm.
I'll see if I can get out of the picture.
You got test points.
That's how it's worse.
And you can
Yeah.
Just stick them to your face. That's what it's looking for, right? There you go.
So
You're like the soldier of fortune. You may have seen this man.
just to be clear, the black one is LoRa and the red one is LoRaWAN. So order the right one.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
you're
a bunch
putting your own code on there. You could add a stack and support LoRaWAN. On
Yeah,
one that just has LoRa. So
we did that, but it's not as stable.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. Can you walk me through that?
The older versions are much harder to get work on LoRaWAN. The V3 upwards, you shouldn't have any trouble.
is that because of LMIC? On those boards?
Yeah,
with LMIC
yes,
and the fact that it's not really being properly maintained right now.
Yeah, I think I think you have to flash the firmware on the RFM95s, and they're notoriously buggy, the old RFM95s.
Well, that's just the radio, I think, and you just talk to that with a SPI interface, but you're going to have a separate microcontroller that's going to be driving that thing. Which probably runs LMIC or some variant thereof.
I've put the link to the new one in the channel, Travis.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Cool. I think that's just like my total ignorance and incompetence. That's the problem here. I don't think there's anything wrong with the devices.
Yeah.
Just I don't know how to use it.
I bought this version 1.2 way before I realized I should buy LoRaWAN devices.
Liam.
Yeah, he actually sold them as LoRaWAN. Initially, they changed it on the website because I bought it as LoRaWAN and then found out it was actually just LoRaFi.
Yeah.
There's 2 cool things with them. One is there is a business I just talked to that is looking. I think it's okay to share. They're looking at a contract to monitor 1,000 trees in a city. So whether or not the trees are getting watered, and they're trying to decide if they're going to use, one of these or something else. And I thought that was pretty cool. Their questions were how accurate was it, and how it was accuracy and precision, I think were the 2 things, versus the much more expensive, because those things, if you buy them in bulk are less than $20, versus the Draginas are $75 a piece, and it's like 2 parts, different thing, but just kind of 2 cool things we're seeing, obviously Helium and LoRaWAN are spreading out. And then the second thing, you guys are probably sick of this by now, but I've got this 2-part little 3D printed 3D printed shield that you can just put around these things. That is way nicer than the shield it comes with, or the physical kind of protection it comes with, and they just plant that sucker in the ground. So, and all that stuff's for free. It's actually on the Maker Fab site right now, so you can print out your own. And as soon as I have the new design, you can print that out as well. But not printing sensors. Sorry, Joey, I always get that wrong. It's shields or whatever they're called, enclosures.
I'm just calling you out because you beat yourself up over it.
Yeah. Well, words mean things. I get them wrong though.
The tree thing, is that like a city grant or is that like a company? Like what's the, I feel like there's a cool thing going on there.
It is, yeah. I don't, well, he shared it with me privately, so I want to make sure I'm semi-respectful of that. I don't want to be the guy that keeps secrets. It's just a straight business thing. It's some government entity that's like, hey, we got 1,000 trees we want to monitor. Can you do it? You're already doing a bunch of other LoRaWAN stuff. Give us a price.
Cool.
So we're going back and forth with that. And then the other cool thing I got, these guys, Sensmo is this company that makes this magic wand. And this is I think it was temperature, humidity, and something else, air pressure. And this is really beautiful. And when I asked them, I don't know how well you can see it if the thing's not focusing. When I asked these guys like, hey, what's your differentiator? They were like, oh, it's that our stuff is really beautiful. It's like kind of Apple level pretty. The only crazy thing with this is that when you unscrew the top part, the batteries almost immediately fall out. Is that there's not like a great way to keep, there we go, keep the batteries in there when you pull it out. So you gotta be a little bit careful when you're putting it in.
Hey, with the tree, what were they requesting? Is it for fire prevention or what was it they were using it? I had a similar project for government trying to test out fire prevention because it was a distance from the water, you could say, from them when they had fires during.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure why the entity wants to monitor. I mean, I'm imagining here in San Diego, we got thousands of trees and there's a whole city.
Irrigation.
So yeah, just straight irrigation probably. Thank you, Slaven. Good to see you.
All right.
I don't think you would have any luck with those in very dry conditions. They will just give you a pretty much very much close to zero reading. So if you want to do this for fire prevention, I don't think you will have any luck with those guys. For irrigation, they probably work quite well. So just to check if trees are moist, that probably will work quite well, but you won't get anything in very low conditions.
Got it. And Leo, you use these a bunch. Sorry, I cut someone off. Are these super reliable? Like I've only had them working in the field for a month or two.
To be honest, I haven't used them a great deal. I was planning to get the V3s in because the V1.2 or whatever they were not all that reliable. So I was planning to have a play with them. We do use a fair few sort of moisture probes, but they're sort of high-end TDR probes that are more sort of the scientific or agricultural spectrum where you actually have to rely on it. And these are $200 just for the probe, so it's a completely different ball game. But in dry condition or in sand or forests, you're going to need these types. But I have heard good things about them from a couple of people using them. So, and in pods where you probably need many across an area, I think they're probably a good option.
I have some customers for more than 2 years and they are working pretty good. The problem is on this this device design that Nik has, you can bury it only 10 centimeters from above the ground, which is not good enough for any plants, I think, because most trees especially, you need to measure moisture at least 20 or 30 centimeters under the ground. And one of the use cases I know that some companies or cities are looking for is that they want to know at what moment water will get to this 30 centimeter level, because they don't want to lose too much big amount of money on water. If you are irrigating too much, water will go on 50 centimeter or 1 meter under the ground. So they want to know how much of water they need to put to one tree to make it enough for 1 day or 2 days or whatever it takes. But 10 centimeter is not good enough, because at the sunny days 10 centimeter level of soil will be dried for like 2 hours or something like that.
Hey, Slaven, did you have any corrosion on those in 2 years? If you have been running them for 2 years, do they corrode?
No, none problem with that. Of course, electronic part is enclosed in some silicone and in some plastics, but this measuring part did not have any problem with that. This coating that sensor has, so silk screen from the PCB producing, it is protecting sensor pretty good.
To hear.
Thanks.
That was my concern. For Leo, you're probably reacting like some of those old soil moisture sensors that you used to get in like Arduino kits would die in like a week, right?
Yeah, in 3 weeks.
These
The
sensors
watermarks.
are capacity sensors, and if you are using resistive sensors, they have open metal design, so that will corrode like in a couple of days.
Even beyond that, though, the big issue was like the old watermarks were designed with AC in mind. And so if you use DC on these sensors, you really need to be reversing your polarity when you're reading the sensor in order to keep these things from corroding themselves to death. There's a really good site that I would recommend checking out. If you go to metergroup.com, they have some great research there on all sorts of ag type sensors. I do want to be respectful, like I say, of everyone's time. We're just a little over the 1 hour mark here. It's so great to see everyone's faces here back on Hacks. Thank you everyone for showing up tonight. I'm excited, and please get in there and get some grants going. Get some pizza and beer money for local meetups. And ideas for anything you want to see discussed on this show. Something if you want to help put a coursework together. Something that people can actually look over a week beforehand. Hit me up, or we know where to find each other on the Discords. But I'd like to do a group project. Let's figure out what we want to do, and let's move towards this. As far as the African channels, I'd like all of us all to continue the conversation that we were having tonight. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah, it's all Travis's fault, man. It's all your fault,
back.
Travis. And it's 1 o'clock. It's on my time. It's 1 o'clock. So this is not helpful for me, Travis. You coming back is just gonna kill my hours. Less hours sleep for me.
AM or PM?
It's 1 a.m. where I'm at. It's 1 a.m. where I'm at with Travis. And you know me, I'm at like 5 to 6 hours of sleep per 24. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I've got weird sleep habits myself here. So
I just wanted to give a shout out to Neil during this call. Actually, in the last 20 minutes, he managed to get my brand new Nanotags up and running on TrackPack. So there's obviously some glitches in figuring out where in Canada these things actually are, but I'm impressed so far. So shout out to Neil, and hope to help you.
Cool stuff, man. Cool stuff. Excellent.
Yeah.
Nice seeing everybody, man.
Nice.
Great seeing everyone. Thanks for coming to Hacks, and we'll see you same bad time, same bad channel next week. See you, folks. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.